fears and your unspoken dreams. And he's crazy about you. He cares deeply about every personal detail of your life. He didn't just doodle your name on his hand, he engraved your name on his skin. So basically, God has a tattoo of your name on his hand. It's pretty cool to think about. And Josh, because you began to discover this love that God loves us in our brokenness, you really took our family to a deeper level of spiritual maturity. And you and Ryan both, when y'all began to open up about your struggles, because there would be so many times when your mom and I would be going through stresses and struggles and really praying and seeking the Lord, but we didn't want to dump our problems on you. We were trying to protect y'all, but yet in doing that, it really hurt y'all. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was, I think when we got older, around the time we were in high school and college, we really wanted to be more open and honest with our family and just with others. This whole idea of the more I'm open about my brokenness and my emptiness, that kind of just, gives God room to kind of fill me up and to use me. Because, God uses, people who don't have it all together, and because he gets the glory from it. And but for Ryan and I, it was, I don't know, we just kind of got tired of all the surface level stuff that the way we talked in our family. For me, I really struggled with depression, and I didn't want to talk about it with my parents because I thought they had it all together, and they were, and they wouldn't understand, and it was just this really weird thing that I just didn't want to talk about with anyone else. And when I finally did open up to them, it was a very painful and very awkward conversation, but I'm so thankful for it. It really encouraged our whole family to be more open, because my dad, I remember you guys saying, we really want you guys to open up to us and to talk to us about the things you go through, your struggles. And we were kind of just like, well, you don't talk to us about anything. And I think there's, obviously when you get to a certain age, you want to protect your kids. I'm not a parent, so I would imagine you would like to protect your kids. But when the older we got, the more our dad and our mom started to open up about, hey, how was school? It kind of sucked. How was work? And my dad would be like, well, nobody at church likes me. And
everybody hates me down there.
Yeah.
Pray for me.
And but that was
and they love that. Yeah.
Because it was so reassuring, that wow, like that, we're all that God just uses broken and imperfect people. Yeah. And I don't know, I think that really just revolutionized the way we all approached our family and our faith.
Yeah, it was so important because, when we would hide our stresses and struggles, they just thought, well, I guess they don't struggle with the same things. We thought we're protecting them, but there comes a time when they get to an age where you got to start sharing with them your struggles and stresses and failures and heartaches, so you can pray together. And we'd be like, you know what, it was a tough day today. I really need your prayers on this. I've got a big issue that I'm facing here. I'm really struggling with this. And they would pray for me, and then they'd open up to me. And it just took us to a deeper level, didn't it, Ryan?
Yeah, it did, definitely. It took us all to a more authentic level. It challenged us all to really open up, because it's easy to go, how's your day? Oh, great. How's your day? Good. We've all been guilty of that. But it was really, when we started to open up, it took us to a deeper level, not only spiritually, but also relationally with each other.
Letting that emptiness into our family felt really awkward and uncomfortable. And the boys have really helped us to embrace the awkwardness that being open and honest and having these honest conversations requires. And they talk about this emptiness being a good thing. And in the book they say, I finally started to realize that the emptiness is not a bad thing. In fact, it's a divine gift. It was the pain of my emptiness that finally drove me to become desperate enough to fall into the arms of the only one who could fill my deepest cravings. Emptiness is a divine gift. So stop anesthetizing it and covering it up, and let it drive you into the arms of the only one who can quench your deepest thirst. So they really turned this idea of emptiness on its head for us. That instead of emptiness just being something that you want to avoid at all costs, that's something that's very painful to get away from, it's the idea of embracing it and saying, this is the very thing that is going to drive me into a better relationship with God and with the people I love. So, Ryan, tell me about that.
Yeah, I think that's a place we've all been, is when you realize you're at the end of your rope. And Josh and I, one of the big messages we have is, if you feel like you're at the end of your rope, whether it's in your own life or own thing. And we just want to remind you that no matter where you're at, no matter how far you feel like you are from God, that He's always there. That a lot of times we used to think that God had fallen away from us, but now the way we look at it is, man, usually we're the ones doing the walking away, and God is always there waiting for you. And we just want to remind you that no matter how far you've drifted, no matter how desperate your situation looks, that God is still there and He's still providing. And we just encourage you to keep praying, to keep trusting Him, because there's such power in the power of patience and just waiting on His timing. And that's oftentimes one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah. Yeah. In Matthew 5:3, Jesus said it in the Sermon on the Mount. He said, "You're blessed when you're at the end of your rope. With less of you, there is more of God and His rule." And so if you're at the end of your rope right now, as the boy said, these guys are telling you that it's a good place to be. If you're at the end of your rope, you're on the verge of a miracle, because at the end of your rope is where you find the only hope, and that's Jesus Christ. And you can't find Him until you get to the end of your rope and trying to do it on your own. And some of you have a problem you've been trying to fix for a long time. You've been trying to control it, and you realize now you can't, and you're about to give up. That's a good place to be. Just give up to God. Some of you have been trying to change a person in your life, change a relationship, and you haven't been able to change it. They need to change, but really you can't change anyone, not even yourself, without God's power. And it's time for you to give up and give them to the Lord. Some of you have been trying to solve a problem. Some of you have been trying to find a solution. Some of you have been trying to get over a hang-up or a habit, and you just can't do it, and you're about to give up. It's a great place to be if you'll take your emptiness to God, because He's the only one who can fill you. If you'll come to Him, and I believe with all my heart this is the day, this is the turning point. Some of you have a teenager or maybe a son or daughter who's in their 30s that have wandered away from God. And you've been trying to get them back and control that situation. It's time for you to give them to God and let Him bring them back. Let Him work a miracle as only He can. And today is the turning point. Today is that time where you give it to God, and you can remember years from now, that was the day that it all began to change. And the first-hand miracle began to happen in my life. Josh, tell us about that. End of the rope, being blessed. Emptiness, being a blessing.
Well, I just think it's the greatest gift God's given us. Like I was saying, well, C.S. Lewis has this quote. There's the C.S. Lewis quote that I thought was just so cool. And he says, "If I find myself with a desire which no experience in this world can satisfy, then the only conclusion I can come to is that I was made for another world." And I think that emptiness is that constant reminder, that daily reminder, that this will never, as wonderful as this is, as wonderful as church can be, and as wonderful as, spending time with others who love the Lord is, that it'll never leave me fully filled. Nothing, no experience in this world will satisfy me, because we were made for a better world. And that is what draws us back to the Lord. I mean, it's that wonderful, wonderful thing where, God isn't a doctor who just forgives us and then sends us on our way. He forgave us, and He's shown us this amazing mercy so that we can just get to know Him and get to experience Him. I'm just so thankful He meets us where we are, in the midst of our brokenness and our emptiness. We don't have to be ashamed of the things and the secrets in our lives that we don't want anyone else to know about, the things that we think, well, God, obviously, I had this good thing going, then I really screwed it up. Obviously, I just, I have to live with this now. I truly believe that, like Ryan said, God is always pursuing us, and He will never stop pursuing us. And, we just get to, enjoy getting to know Him.
Yeah. Awesome.
And as difficult as it is to embrace emptiness in our own life, even if we realize it's ultimately a good thing, I think as a parent, it's even harder to recognize and embrace the emptiness in your child's life. I know for Kerry and I, we would do anything, as all parents would, for your kids. And my natural gut instinct is to try to rescue my kids from any hurt or pain in their lives. And it starts when they're little, when they're toddlers, and everything they do, it seems like every 10 seconds they're getting into trouble, and they're about to tumble and crack their head or touch something hot or do something where they're going to get hurt, and you're just always on the alert and wanting to rescue them. As a parent, I know that a lot of times it's a lot tougher to say no than it is to say yes. as a kid, you always think that, I asked to go to this party. My mom and dad said no. Like that was the easy thing to say. The easy thing to say to kids is yes. The easy thing is go, hey, go ahead, I'll look the other way, do your thing. A lot of times the tough thing is to say no and maybe create some pain, some hurt in your child's life, but you're doing it for their own good.
And he is the great rescuer in Colossians 1:13. He says, "For he has rescued us from the dominion of darkness and brought us into the kingdom of the Son he loves." In his severe mercy, he's always merciful to rescue us. And when we turn it over to him, he rescues. I hope you really enjoyed the message today. And the